Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Elizabeth's World in Crisis in WCTH S12, E11, Having Faith preview videos. Hearties will need to be prepared for a very serious WCTH Season 12. Episode 11, Having Faith. Little Jack has diabetes. However, there could be some hope that could prevent the little boy from dying. Hallmark has released some videos that preview this serious episode that features the talent of Highland Goodrich. The upcoming WCTH Season 12, Episode 11, Having Faith, promises to be a tearjerker. According to the synopsis, when little Jack falls ill, Elizabeth and Nathan care for him together as Hickam and May race to secure medicine. The kids broadcast a baseball game over the radio to lift spirits. The first Hallmark preview video for Having Faith gives a broad overview with what Elizabeth is facing. The video starts with Elizabeth holding little Jack and Nathan saying, "I came to Hope Valley to protect Elizabeth." Bill Avery's voice can be heard saying, "Elizabeth Thornton is as brave as they come." The whole community is there to support Elizabeth as the Canfields remind her, "You're not in this alone." Lastly, Faith and May tell Elizabeth and Nathan about a revolutionary treatment. Best of all, the insulin has been effective. Now Elizabeth has to write a letter to convince these doctors to help her save her son's life. Next is a sneak peek video showing the scene where Faith and May talk to Elizabeth and Nathan about a treatment, after Elizabeth questions about this new cure. Faith is very clear that although the results have been positive, there are still some caveats. There is no guarantee that little Jack will tolerate it. This is one of the most difficult things any parent could possibly go through. It is difficult enough to see her young son become so ill that he could die. Moreover, now Elizabeth has to use her writing skills to convince people she does not know to help her son. Bill counsels Nathan about Elizabeth. In yet another WCTH Season 12, Episode 11 video preview, Bill advises Nathan on this serious situation. Little Jack is very ill, he could die. How can he comfort Elizabeth through this unimaginable situation? Nathan confesses that he feels powerless. Bill rubs his shoulder. He tells him, "Your job is to be there when it counts. Looks like you are doing a pretty good job to me. Looks like Hearties, better have some hankies nearby." There are going to be some very difficult moments in this episode. Is WCTH Season 13 confirmed? The upcoming WCTH Season 12, Episode 11 is the penultimate episode. There will only be one more episode left this season. But has Hallmark announced when calls the Heart Season 13? Not yet. The network waited until the eve of the Way Home Season 3 finale to announce Season 4. Could Hallmark do the same with When Calls the Heart? In When Calls the Heart Season 12, Episode 11, titled Having Faith, Elizabeth Thatcher Thornton faces the kind of inner storm that even the most hopeful valley can't calm overnight. The newly released preview videos hint at an emotional crescendo for our favorite school teacher, a chapter where faith, love, and loyalty are tested like never before. And it all begins with a letter. The letter that shakes her core. The teaser opens with Elizabeth seated at her writing desk, sunlight filtering through lace curtains, casting soft shadows on her journal. But her eyes are not on the page, they are locked on a letter she's just unfolded. Her hands tremble slightly, and the music swells. It's a letter from Lucas. Though the contents are not revealed in the preview, her expression says enough. A mix of regret, sadness, and longing? Could this be Lucas finally expressing the thoughts he's buried since their breakup? Or is it a goodbye Elizabeth didn't expect? The town's quiet serenity belies the emotional upheaval she's about to face. Nathan sees the change. Another clip shows Nathan Grant stepping into the schoolhouse after hours, only to find Elizabeth lost in thought, staring at the chalkboard, which still displays a half-erased lesson on trust. Nathan, ever the protector, gently approaches. "You all right?" he asks. Elizabeth tries to smile, but it falters halfway. "I'm just trying to remember why I came here in the first place." This line hangs heavy in the air. Elizabeth's foundation, the school, her friendships, her son, feels like it's slipping from her grasp. Nathan doesn't press her for answers, but his concerned gaze speaks volumes. He senses that she's at a crossroads, and he's not sure if he's part of the direction she's headed. Rosemary's revelation. Meanwhile, Rosemary Coulter bursts into the cafe with urgency in her voice and a twinkle of panic in her eyes. The preview shows her pulling something about Faith. Elizabeth, already emotionally frayed, listens as Rosemary explains a rumor sweeping through town that Faith Carter might be leaving Hope Valley to accept a prestigious position at a city hospital. She's scared to tell you. She doesn't want to leave you, or us, but it's an opportunity she can't ignore. Elizabeth is stunned. Faith has been her anchor, her confidant, especially since the fractures with Lucas and the uncertainty with Nathan. Losing her would be yet another blow. It becomes clear that having faith refers not just to Elizabeth's need to trust the universe, but perhaps also to letting go of the one person who's always reminded her to believe in herself. Little Jack's question. One of the most tender moments teased in the video shows Elizabeth reading to Little Jack. The book is about explorers finding their way home. Halfway through, he interrupts with a question that pierces her heart. "Mommy, do people always come back?" Elizabeth hesitates, caught off guard. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they find a new place to belong. Little Jack frowns, clearly unsatisfied. But it's Elizabeth who's truly shaken by how much her son understands and by how little she can promise. This moment speaks to the larger theme of the episode, the fear of being left behind and the courage to still hope. Henry's warning. Elsewhere, Henry Gowan, whose wisdom has only deepened with time, offers Elizabeth a rare, fatherly moment of truth. They cross paths at the church steps, where Elizabeth has come seeking peace. Life has a way of testing what we believe in, he says, not just faith in others, but in ourselves. She looks at him, vulnerable. What if I stopped believing? Henry pauses, then replies, "Then you borrow someone else's until you find your own again." It's a simple exchange, but one that sends Elizabeth back to the schoolhouse that night, where she sits alone and writes something new on the chalkboard. Having faith doesn't mean knowing the answer. It means being willing to keep asking the questions. The final scene tease. The final seconds of the preview are haunting. Elizabeth stands outside her home, wind tossing her hair, as a carriage approaches in the distance. Her eyes squint toward the horizon. It's unclear who's arriving, Lucas, Faith, someone from her past, or is it simply a metaphor for the unknown future? The episode promises a turning point for Elizabeth. Whether she clings to Hope Valley or redefines her place in it remains to be seen. The bigger picture. Season 12 of When Calls the Heart has taken fans on a slower, more emotionally complex journey. Episode 11, Having Faith, seems poised to deliver the emotional weight that's been building all season. From fractured friendships to stalled romances, the story has been less about sweeping gestures and more about quiet reckonings. Elizabeth, at the center of it all, must now decide what she truly wants, not just in love, but in life. And as the preview suggests, sometimes faith isn't about waiting for someone else to return. Sometimes it's about rediscovering yourself, one tear, one choice, and one courageous step at a time.